guys, welcome back to the Axial Deadbolt budget build. This is week 8, part 2. Since it was the week of Christmas, I thought I would do a double episode. Earlier, we did a swap from the Axial Maxxis Trepidors to these Pitbull Rock Beasts 2. And now today, we're going to do another new part from SSD-RC. You've seen them before when I showed you guys their wheels. What I'm going to do this week is a brand new bumper that they've got out. Now, this bumper has a lot of mounting options recessed here down into the bumper. Now, our bumper up here in front, nice and functional, looks good as well. Doesn't have any mounting positions. You could modify it, but it's still going to be a plastic bumper that's holding whatever you're wanting to put up there. Later on in this build, we'll definitely be adding a winch. And this bumper is set up completely to accept winches from popular manufacturers already. So when we get to that point, we'll make a decision and figure out what we're going to mount up there. But for this week, we're going to get this thing on the front of here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the purpose of this thing is, what the benefits are, and how it goes together. Before I get into the installation of this other bumper, I want to get in and take some measurements on this one to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what we're dealing with as far as differences between the stock bumper and this new bumper from SSD-RC. Now, I do want to mention that my ruler here has kind of a dead spot before it gets to the 0 mark. So I'm not going to account for that in the measurements, but we are just going to read exactly what measurement we come with. So the very first thing is to the end of that stinger, we're looking at 1.5 inches. Now, from the front of the grill to the edge of the bumper, the leading edge, we've got 3/4 of an inch. Now, going from the surface of the table to the bottom of the bumper, we are at 3 1/8. So that gives us our base measurements. I'm going to remove this stock bumper, and then we're going to take a look at throwing on the new one. Now, the stock bumper is only retained with 2 screws, one on each side. Pretty simple to just pull it out. Now, comparing the stock bumper to the new SSD bumper. Now, we will see right off that the SSD bumper is definitely much deeper. It is also tucked back into where the bumper is, so it probably won't get hung up much in the rocks, being that it's so close to the axle. But we'll see once we get out there, and we should be able to tell by any rock rash that we get. Now, comparing a profile view of them, you will notice that the stock bumper definitely had a stinger that stuck out further from the edge of the bumper. Overall, this one looks to stay a little bit tighter, but overall it looks like we're going to be pretty close to the same depth as far as from the grill to the leading edge. So setting the stock bumper aside, we can get a better look at the new SSD bumper. Now, you will notice right off that it is drilled and tapped already for a fair lead in the front. Once we mount a winch in here, we definitely will be adding a fair lead to the front. Now, you can see back here, there's tons of mounting holes already drilled, and those holes correspond to the bolt patterns of the popular winches that are already on the market. Now, this bumper is made out of aluminum here in the front, and then the push bar or stinger bar, bull bar, whatever you want to call it, is made of steel. So just something to note. Now, as mentioned before, this is a multi-piece design. The bracket here that mounts to the chassis as well as the winch plate comes apart from the actual bumper itself. This is so that you can easily mount your winch or whatever you would like here in the center and then install that all back into the bumper itself, making things pretty simple to operate. Now, another feature to mention is the mounting. It mounts with a 3mm screw through the same hole that the stock bumper mounts with. Then it has an additional hole just behind that where it mounts with a slightly smaller 2.5mm screw. Now, this gives you 2 points on each side rather than using the one hole that the stock one does and then with just this little nub that stuck through the chassis before. So it should be nice and solid to facilitate anything that you're going to mount to this bumper up front. That being said, I'm going to get this piece mounted back into the bumper, and then we're going to mount this whole thing back into the chassis. Now that we have the bumper installed, we can go back and take our baseline measurements again. First, to the top or the front of the stinger, we are at 1 inch. And then to the leading edge of the bumper itself, we are at 7/8 of an inch. So the new bumper install wraps up part 2 of this week's upgrades. Follow along for a lot more upgrades, updates on this truck. There's a lot of things we can do to an SCX10, and a lot of them are going to get pretty in-depth. This truck should really turn out to be a really capable rig as we progress through 2015. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been great. Hopefully I'm back on track now, and I'll keep getting these upgrades out to you every Thursday right on time. I try to get them so that they post right at midnight Central Time. So if you guys are night owls or you're somewhere else in the world where those post at a better time of day for you guys, check them out. Thanks again for all the support, and thanks for subscribing. We'll see you guys on the next one.